Hey guys, if you love QF's content on our free Sundays and Thursday sessions, then please visit our Patreon page in the description and sub to the Black Kluge tier or higher for full access to not only our bonus weekly Tuesday night shows and the alternate Sunday shows you've been missing, but also to the exclusive episodes not available to the lower tiers. It's roughly the price of one coffee a month, and nobody at Starbucks will make you laugh like we do for that kind of scratch. In addition, when you sub to the Black Kluge tier, you'll get 2 weeks advance access to each Thursday session on Patreon before it makes it to YouTube.
Would you pretend that I am Bahati? I'm sitting here. I'm going to be honest with you. It's hot in the garage. I'm wearing a bra top. And I only have panties on. I'm being honest.
Can you go a little slower? Just talk about it.
You have underwear on under that robe?
I do. That's all I have on, though.
Oh, my God. So wait, you're in your garage. Bahati is. I'm Bahati. You leave it alone. You know what? You're doing just fine. I should only look like you. All right. So I'm Bahati. We're in the garage. I'm bathed. I'm moisturized. I've completely shaven for you, and I'm sitting here listening to my husband.
Gross.
I've had dinner at Mar-a-Lago with Donald many times. Not at the same table. But he would come over, he would give me a tour of Mar-a-Lago. I've been there. I told you, it's like heaven. Oh, it's hot. I just burned my mouth. Dry oatmeal. I need...
What? Oh.
On it. Where you could just put them in your ear and, like, they'd be Bluetooth or something.
Because I can't even afford to buy socks anymore, you know?
No. Well, all right. Well, hey, I'm glad to hear you're doing okay, and I have my routine. And the days go so fast because I just sit in my room and entertain myself, like when I was a little boy.
Time means nothing.
Yeah, no such thing as time. If I didn't have to shower and eat, I'd just sit in that room. I'm telling you, it's that narcissism where you think the whole world revolves around you and you're entitled to do whatever you want. But, you know, when you're a football player and you're used to being catered to and you're the most famous football player in the world, you can get caught up in that. And then when your wife says, hey, you know, you need to take the garbage out and drive the kids to school, you get resentful and you go, don't you know who I am? You know? I can't get that image of your dad playing piano with you on with you on his lap. It's just, I don't usually feel stuff, so this never happens to me.
Welcome, ladies and gents, to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm your host, Phil Moore, a.k.a. Jim Fix. And with me for this particular stroll down memory lane is Mr. Wayne. How are you, buddy?
Good. How you been?
I've had better weeks. I've had better months, but doing the show helps me keep an even keel sometimes. So it's not my therapy, but it's good to just close out the year 2024 with a nice Artie bit. We've got 2 clips here, guys. I'm not sure if we're going to get through both of them exactly, but we'll have to let them play out a bit. One of them's from it's a New Year's Eve 2007 show that they just decided they'd talk about on the show because they had some clips. And Dan, the song Parody Man's part of this one. And then there's another one from the following year in April. There's some gig he does where he goes off on the band. We haven't had any Artie stuff in a while, and I thought it'd be good. I know you love the Jackie years, but you love Artie. I know you loved Artie as well.
I love Artie too.
Yeah.
That's why.
Hey, the Jeffersons changed Lionel's.
They changed the whole person.
Yeah.
See, Lionel died?
I did. The first
That's another guy who died.
The first Lionel died?
Lionel Jefferson
and I
died
didn't
while we
realize
were away.
He created a show. He must have had some bucks. He created, what fucking show did he create with another guy? God damn. But it was a popular show, so maybe he had money from that. You got to create it by credit. That's cash. And it's a show that's Good Times.
He created Good Times?
That's what it said, yeah.
Wow.
Are you sure?
That's what it said in his bio.
See, I thought he was a loser.
Well, I don't know if he got the...
Is that true?
I think so, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I know that they did change Lionel's, and that would have been right because Good Times was, around the same time.
Florida came off of Maude. She was Maude's maid.
Right, and then of course, obviously, George came off of All in the Family.
Yeah.
And so
Lionel, Lionel, the original Lionel was on All in the Family.
Yeah, so I think it's probably true. But and Good Times was, I think, can't remember. I know they killed off the dad, John Amos, because of a contract dispute, because he just hated the scripts and he was just complaining. And he said in many interviews he just was kind of upset with the way that they were portraying. Jimmy Walker. They were using him to just playing him almost like a Louis Armstrong, very clownish.
It was like a Step and Fetch It kind of.
Absolutely,
buffoon.
yeah. And it was such a hit, though. I remember specifically, I watched it as a kid.
Yeah, I loved it.
Back in the day, though, you did watch things because they were on, not because they were necessarily great.
Yeah, I don't know. I love that show. I even have the box set of DVDs for the whole series.
Which has the better theme song? The Jeffersons or Good Times? I think they're both good, but the Jeffersons rocks.
Yeah. They I have that. I have Sanford and Son, All in the Family, and but I mean, you can still watch Good Times and Sanford and Son, and I think All in the Family has been edited.
You're kidding?
Edit those now? No, there was one where Archie they edited out him saying "chink."
What's the fucking point of editing that show?
And that's the whole point. Is the guy's a buffoon, and that's the way he talked. That's what you'd learn from the show.
Oh God! Wait a minute. So you're saying they edit it now on TV, but they have the original on. If you have the originals on DVD or whatever, that's not going to be an issue. Okay, good. Fuck that episode where he goes to Stretch Cunningham's funeral. My God, I've never seen that. That's one of the best bits of writing I've ever heard in my life. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I vaguely remember it. I haven't sat down and watched them for a while. I've had that set for years, but
hold on, let me see if
I catch them. Yeah, I catch them here and there I think they're on MeTV, like on Sundays.
Hold on.
Now that I'm home on Sundays, I get to see them.
Okay, let me see. I think this is it. Yeah, all right.
I'm Sam. Come on, we made a mistake. This is a funeral for a Jewish guy here.
Where's Mr. Moore? Mr. Bunker, I'm so glad you're here. We're just about ready for you. Here's your yarmulke.
Hold on, wait a minute. What's going on here?
I guess Stretch must have been Jewish.
Stretch Jewish with a name like Cunningham?
Oh, Archie, what's in the name?
A Jewish name ain't supposed to have no ham in it.
What a great line.
I do remember this, yeah.
Oh, God. Anyway, that's the one that comes to mind.
His mother was probably Jewish, and she could have married an Irish guy, but they still consider them Jewish.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That's probably what happened with that whole situation.
Yeah.
Larry David Seinfeld deal, but it said he created Good Times with another writer.
I bet you made a lot of money because Good Times is in syndication.
It's been in syndication forever.
Holding your head above water.
Great song.
Making the way when you can.
Temporary layoff.
Good Times.
Easy rip-offs. Whatever.
Good Times.
Ain't we lucky we got them.
Good times.
I see your
Jesus. Ruin it.
Yeah, actually, the sister was going to be at one of the comic and collectible shows that I was going to, and I brought my box set for her to sign it because when I was a kid, I loved her.
You're kidding.
Yeah. I thought she was the. I don't know. That show was something weird with me that I've considered them like somebody like a family I knew or something.
Well, that was the genius of those shows. I mean, you could totally, even if you couldn't relate, you felt like you knew them somehow.
Yeah, it was weird. Like watching, me and my sister would watch that, and I just I didn't even really think of as a black show, like where there were other things on there. We were just like, we're not watching that, but for some reason we liked that show.
Yeah.
And but yeah, she was supposed to be at the thing, and I was going to get her to sign my box set, but she didn't show up. Her and she didn't show up in Bai Ling. That was the other one.
Wow.
Yeah, I had what's the movie that she was in that I had that DVD. I was going to get her to sign that.
The Crow?
No, not The Crow. The what's it called? It's she's like her brother gets involved with some stuff. It's a real cyberpunk movie.
Can't recall offhand.
Yeah, they went to a comic. There was a comic for it, and I brought that. It's also she's on the CD single for. There's a band, Compa Christ, that does the music for the movie, and they're actually in the movie. And I brought that to sign too, but then she didn't show up. So that day, but I met Peter Tork.
With those cons, when people pay good money to get into those things, and then you go traveling some distance to get stuff signed, and those people there are no shows. I imagine some people it must be infuriating. Because I mean, I understand people get sick and all that stuff, but you should at least be able to get your money back.
Yeah, Yuri Lacey Underalls from Caddyshack.
Wow,
she was
yes.
there.
Okay.
She was there. She still looked pretty good. I think she just died recently. And,
Maybe.
Yeah, and Mickey Dolenz was there. I met Mickey a million times.
God bless Mickey.
Rock star now, man.
What are you doing?
Artie did a New Year's show, and they aired it on Sirius, and Artie sings at his New Year's shows. He did 3 songs, but you know what's weird?
I had so much fun.
Over the radio, though, you can't hear the band, so all you can hear is you singing.
So you're just screaming over the...
I looked at the situation and I said, there's no way this mix could be possibly right.
Of course not. No one actually put the energy into it.
They did, though. It's just it's hard to...
It's impossible to mix Artie?
The radio guy should get a good mix going.
I was going to say, it's at a place, it was in the Tower Theater where they did a David Bowie concert, so I'm sure it's possible.
Let me see.
Let me hear.
What you talk about? God, 3,000 Philly fans, huge Stern fans, big serious people that you could tell they all love it. It was
just Artie doing Glory's Days. This is funny because you just don't even hear.
That's gonna be awful.
You can't hear the music. Yeah.
I know you cringe because I know you hate that song. To be honest, I didn't mind it a little bit growing up, but it was during that era of freaking back in the USA. And you just couldn't avoid it. So that's sickening. But his earlier stuff is just way better. If you want to listen to Eddie Springsteen, you got to listen to The River.
See, I don't like him at all. I understand why people do like him. Mm-hmm. He's got a great band. I'll give him that. He just bugs the hell out of me. I think he's as phony as Wiggy. I never bought. In the Glory Days is just contrived.
Well, yeah.
It's like I don't believe that Bruce Springsteen played baseball. I don't know. And the Morrissey line, the songs that they play have nothing to do with me and my life.
Right.
That's
right.
Glory Days.
Okay.
That and Put Me in Coach. That's the other one. And I like Creedence. But I hate Put Me in Coach. So these two songs go together like bookends of bad music.
Oh, well, CCR, I have zero time for. I walk out of a room if I hear CCR.
Yeah, I don't mind them. There's something, if they play it in a bar, I like to hear it.
Yeah.
We got another song in us,
Another song.
You guys like Bruce Springsteen and the Heat Street Band?
Yeah, where are they?
He's so drunk.
I'm drunk. It's New Year.
Yeah, we like Bruce Springsteen and E Street.
I got some Glory Days.
Oh, you mean it's Artie singing? I thought Bruce Springsteen was coming.
2007.
Well, these guys sound like they can play.
They're
I wonder
good.
if the guy in the audience is questioning his whole life.
By the way, the band, you can't hear them. They were a band called Pfeff. P-F-E-F-F.
Leave it to our guys not to do a check.
Well, Howard's being a fucking idiot. Number one, unless they're plugged into the soundboard, the monitor, they're not going to get a clean mix. That's just the way it is. I
like the sound of it. It sounded more hard rock,
grungy,
almost. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I remember I used to have a mini disc player, and then I bought a microphone attachment with two, with the left and right channel. And when you held it the right sort of space in the room, it was like having an old Fostex, like reel-to-reel recorder or something. It was really, really good, especially when you recorded it uncompressed. And for live gigs, it was great because it was so small, and doesn't look like anything that would cause any harm and no one really bothers you. And the sound quality for such a small product was really good. But for something like this, you're going to get the noise of the audience. You want to get that sound anyway. So, why are you criticizing Sirius when they probably didn't have much money to go to this thing anyway?
I loved mini discs. I never recorded with it like that. I never really thought about it.
Yeah.
But I have 2 mini disc players, and I love that format.
Me too.
I just loved everything about mini disc.
Yeah, it was. It didn't quite work in North America, certainly. And the first time I'd seen it, it was a high school friend. He was from Hong Kong, and he had one of the first ones. And he had like, I don't know, it was like a Michael Bolton album inside. And I thought, oh God, that would have been an awful one to choose. However, I listened to the audio quality, and it was great.
There was actually, the way I got mine is my friends from Canada. Their father was a cab driver, and the guy left it in the cab, and he never claimed it. And they said, well, Wayne's into music stuff. He probably knows what it is.
Yeah.
And so they gave me that one. Then I bought my own second one. I had one in work and one at home.
Mm-hmm.
And first thing, the whole thing was total metal. It was all made out of metal, and it was
all aluminum,
built like a tank.
Yeah. Same. So my Sony RZ, I can't remember, 909 or something like that. I don't remember.
Was it blue?
Mine was red.
Mine was blue, but it actually, I still have it. And then when they went out of business, Tower Records here had like a big closeout on them, so I was getting them for like $5.
Yeah,
and like really good albums that, and they sound great.
Yeah, they do.
Make sure that you can hear Artie's band.
The music.
They were a great band. Thanks, Fef. Big fans of the show. Thanks for coming out. They were great.
I had a friend with a great baseball back in high school. He could throw that speedball fire. Man, you look like a fool, boy. So the other night at this roadside bar, I was walking in. He was walking out. We went back inside.
The funny thing is, Artie actually has a pretty good voice, but when you mic it loud, it ain't going to work.
I mean, if the music had been up, this would have actually been a decent performance.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I got to be. I pretended I was a rock star.
They did a thing on the Bennington show recently that what's your most hated Springsteen song, and this is mine. And he pointed out that he's like, nobody calls it a speedball. Like in the line in the song, he pointed it out. I was like, it's a fastball.
Fastball,
and he said, and he kind of said, well, you can tell Springsteen never was into baseball.
No, exactly. Like, faux working man, with his $500 tickets now, for fuck's sake. Now, I remember a friend of mine, she saw him in the probably Lucky Town day, so 91, 92, when he released those 2 albums back to back, and she wasn't a fan. Like, someone bought her the ticket for her own birthday. I don't know why you're buying your own present, but sometimes we all do that. Yeah. She said, I got 2 tickets, so you want to come with me? And she went with her friend, and she said it was 4 hours long. The concert was 4 hours. He had no opening act, nothing. Wow. And she said he did so many encores, and at the end she was like, "Oh, we're not worthy." She said she never been to a show like that with that much energy and stuff. And I go, well, his live shows became legendary. There's one gig at Winterland, 1978. I think it was a radio broadcast at KSAN, and it's one of the best live sets ever. Like, if you listen to it, the sound's electric. I mean, it's just and they're at their peak, right? But they're at their peak live, but they're not you're not burnt out by them at that point. They haven't released all those Born in the USA and all that shit.
Yeah. What year was that Winterland concert?
1978. I mean, part of it's on the. Let me see if I can get this.
Well, I think the Grateful Dead closed Winterland.
They might have, yeah. Okay, let's see. This.
Oh man, I've heard a thing about that. If they didn't close it, that the floor was getting ready to go, and it was originally an ice skating rink.
That's right.
And I guess that if they didn't close it, there was I guess gas pipes and stuff under there that were toxic. It was really a dangerous place.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see if I get another version, because that one's all right, let me try
I love
this
that
again.
song, but I like Patti Smith's version.
There we go. It goes quite a bit. Let me just get to the.
Yeah.
Worked all day out in the Hudson. Break my back till the evening comes. Come on now, try to understand.
I mean, it was recorded for radio, so it's a perfect sounding concert, right? But like they broadcast it live, but then I don't think it was intended for proper release, and then it was heavily bootlegged at the time.
Did they finally release it?
I think, yeah, bits on
officially?
that. You remember that there's a box set in the mid '80s that a lot of Springsteen fans complained about because of how expensive it was. But it was 1975 to 1985 or something like that. That one, that iconic photo of him on stage, and so they released songs from it. I don't think they released it outright until later on. But the bootleggers were having a field day with it.
Yeah, there's a video on YouTube of people lining up down in Boston at Strawberries Records to get that box set.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny because it's all the '80s people.
Yeah,
like you're really trying to sing, yeah.
There's a lot of energy. It was fun.
We just forgot to mic the band.
I don't want those guys to take a hit. It seemed like they were doing a good job. I don't know.
What? Who?
The engine. I mean, they got down there. We did a full sound check.
The proof is in the mix.
Right.
Yeah. Can you hear the music?
Not as well as I wanted to. That's the first time I'm hearing it. I don't know exactly who the guys were, but it was a bunch of engineers down there.
I sat down, had a few drinks.
Must have been a lot of effort, though, to like do a mix. You know?
I mean, especially if you're just setting up for a comedy show.
Yeah.
It's so easy. You just sit that stool there and put a mic in front of it.
I'm sure there was a lot of distractions and a lot of fun going on. So
we did a 2-hour sound check. Being a comic, I'm not used to that.
Yeah, this is all on the fly too, though, right?
I think
like
I think
improvised.
I think they filmed it like just handheld, and that what we're hearing is video coverage, the audio of video,
right?
And that's why it sounds so shitty. But if you're going to professionally record it, audio wise, there's ways to do it. It's not that hard of a thing.
But Wiggy, this is just for comic relief anyway.
He's trying to be funny. Yeah, honestly, he's being too critical.
I was like singing through it and shit.
I like that there's a 2-hour sound check and you can't even hear the band.
But that's, a guy's nightmare. It's like, hey, yeah, I want you to mic this comedy show. He's like, oh, cool. That's a gig where I just have to stand around and really not do anything. And then you tell him, oh, but there's going to be music.
See, if you told guys, you're fired if we can't hear the music, I guarantee you to hear the music. So there's a way to do it. Like if the entire people who were down there got fired for this, the next group would be like, I heard the last group of guys got fired for this.
That tells you more about him than it does about anything else.
So this is coming from a guy that could never get anything mic'd right in the studio all these years.
And is still fucking up constantly.
Yeah, I just listened to the show where you guys played the thing with when Springsteen was in, actually, and Wiggy started talking like right at the break.
Yeah.
And Bowie kind of allowed it. And there's no doubt in my mind Bowie was like waiting for that to happen.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, he has to count on small victories these days,
right.
Bowie. Like if it can't be an overt, like I quit, fuck you. He's not going to quit on the air.
Yeah.
And he's not going to, go to write a poison pen book because he knows he gets sued. But when he interviewed Springsteen, it's interesting. When he interviewed Springsteen for that HBO Max that they tried to, prop up as a new standalone thing, like Howard interviewing the greats, whatever. And it, got lower ratings than, The Secret History of Carpets or something like that. And, I can't remember, I'm not saying, I'm not getting that one correct, but you know what I mean? It was those types of shows at the tail end of the ratings, chart. But, he sounded so much worse in comparison to Springsteen. Like the mix was wrong. If he'd had Scott the engineer was on board, those mics, they would have had parody with the mics. But Springsteen was off, or like he was not overmodulated, but his levels were higher than Howard's, and they shouldn't have been.
Yeah, it just was bad. And it just seems like nobody gets it right. But are the serious engineers, they're all non-union, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and Scott was part of the union, so I think he knew what he was doing. But
he definitely
Scott's
knew
living a better life
Yeah.
without Wiggy.
I hope so. I think he's in Florida.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I hope things are going good for him.
Yeah, me too.
If we don't get it right.
But all we kept talking about glory days.
Oh, Artie's drunk. Now.
Richard Christie did a drum solo. You can almost hear it.
I was going to say.
Richard's on the drums.
And the guy up on the stage is Dan, the song parody man, who evidently had a major role in Artie's New Year's show because Dan knows something about music.
He got the band.
Yeah.
You know, when I gave him a full set.
Right.
They sang your song.
Right.
Robin's
He told me he was
Bunghole.
going to do some of that stuff.
Welcome to Robin's Bunghole. Well, here's Richard's drum solo. He was wasted. Kidding, you can hardly hear it.
This is the first time I
I was
heard
going to
it.
say, where was he playing?
Underwater. I hate drum solos.
I hate to say it, but I agree with him. I've never cared for any solos, actually, guitar solos, even like when they're in the context of a song, yeah. But when they're just to fill time during a concert, I've always hated them.
I see. I don't mind it when they, like I'm a Dead fan. You guys know that, but when they do drums in space, usually, I don't mind that because that's when they're doing like weird experimental stuff, and Mickey Hart has like all these really weird setups, so it interests me because it's different all the time. It's not the same kind of thing. One night they'll do some kind of. I've even seen him go and do like almost like house music kind of style drums with the setup he has. And rap over it. Recently I saw that. But then I've also seen like some jungle things and like all kinds of stuff. So it keeps me interested. I saw Kyle Palmer do a drum solo twice. That interested me because I like Kyle Palmer.
I don't know. Just to me, it was always just, why don't you just put a song in there instead?
Well, I always thought it would, for drum solos, like the New Order thing, I always thought was funny, where they were just going to have a drum machine playing and leave the stage. That's where Blue Monday came from.
Yeah.
That was the intent of that.
Worst part of any song.
Actually, Richard was doing it from his house.
And Richard is a fantastic drummer.
Yeah. When they open the window, you can almost hear it.
Listen to this.
Richard Christie on the skins.
It's loaded.
What song are we doing?
And then he just started doing it again. Richard wouldn't stop.
He can't. He's drunk too.
And what do you do? Like, you stand there going, how do I tell him to stop?
Well, then this was towards the end. I wanted to end it, you know.
Kick back into the song and end it.
Yeah, here's a live version of Welcome to Robin's Bunghole. Oh, man. Who's singing, Dan, the song parody?
No. This guy who I think is the singer of this band, Pfeff, who does an amazing Axl Rose.
This is the Axl Rose sound alike.
Guys are telling me that it's really weird because Dan comes out and grabs a microphone and says, "Who wants to hear Welcome to the Bunghole?" So they all say they want to, and then this other guy comes out and sings it, and Dan just stands next to him tapping his foot while it's going on.
Oh, geez.
Just give him a tambourine or something.
Well, yeah, honestly, that's brutal. And then, you know what?
Yeah.
That's Dan wanting to be like involved, like to make himself, bigger than he actually is. I reached out to him recently to try to get him to see for an interview, and he never responded. I know that he read my message, but he didn't respond. And I think he just doesn't want to have anything to do with Stern-related stuff, having been ostracized by them in a really shitty way. But
I don't know about that. I don't know if,
they basically
after I stopped.
Yeah, well, they cut him off while you were still a fan. I mean, you might have missed the wrap-up show or whatever where they talked about it, but he called in and they accused him of being cheap. They accused him of being, it was after I think it had come out already that he owed Artie money. Like, and Artie told that story about he borrowed $7,500 and blah blah blah, never paid him back, and But it was an Artie didn't bring it up. Dan brought up that he owed Artie and it unsolicited, thinking that they knew or something like that. And Artie he's like, no, when I loan you money, I'll shut the fuck up. You won't hear about it from me.
Yeah.
But don't let me find out I heard you did this and this and this, with the real money that you could have paid me back. And that with Artie, I understood because it's an honor thing. It's just about not feeling like you're not being taken advantage of. I totally get it.
No, I didn't know that he fell out with the show.
Yeah.
I knew that. I remember that.
Yeah.
But, wow.
Yeah. So, and I would have given him a forum to just talk about whatever. Like, I just wanted I really was more interested in because he was sitting in on the creative meetings, and that he was working for free, basically trying to do content for the show. And I don't know, did you ever get compensated? Was it a situation where you just did free, and they got fed up and they decided, well, we don't need him anymore?
Yeah, I'm sure. And then the Rodman songs kind of got phased out anyways.
They did.
The one that was funny during the whole Christmas season was the Release Robin's Bra.
Release Robin's Bra.
Every time I'd hear that, not the release, what's the Spanish
Tits?
one? No, Spanish release.
Feliz Navidad.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. But anytime I'd hear that would click in my head, Release Robin's Bra, and then I couldn't hear it. Yeah.
And doing on stage, tapping his foot. I play the foot. He wants to be recognized so bad, Dan, that he just stood there. Because, he probably wrote it and everything.
Right, but he doesn't sing it.
He's kind of like Carlos Santana, He's got to get a lead singer to sing. He's like Pete Townsend.
He's worse because he doesn't play any of the instruments. He's not in the band.
Well, give the guy a guitar and let him fake playing. He's standing there next to the guy because he wrote it. Burt Bacharach doesn't come out with Dionne Warwick just because he wrote it.
He looks like he's waiting for a bus while this band is
Dolly Parton wrote and I Will Always Love You.
Right.
But when Whitney Houston's singing it, she doesn't stand next to her.
It'd be like Cole Porter standing next to Frank Sinatra.
Right.
That is funny, actually.
I always like the Dolly version better. The Whitney Houston song does nothing to me. It's yodeling.
I remember there's a story about a woman in Italy who got arrested for singing it nonstop in the morning. Like she would wake up and she'd be screaming it out, when neighbors complained about the noise, and she got arrested. Well,
that would be a nightmare, like waking up to that every day.
Oh, for fuck's sake, yeah. And there was, I remember one time I was in a PC cafe, because back then I rather than have a computer, because they just took up a lot of space in those days, I would go to a PC cafe and use one of theirs. And this kid was playing Last Christmas on a loop. So
that's why you hate it.
I was there probably a half hour catching up on the emails and stuff. And I wanted to pull out his speakers and strangle him. He just played it nonstop.
Yeah, I was wondering why you hate that song. Like when you were talking about the Paul McCartney one and how you hate that. And the Paul McCartney one, I'm indifferent. I don't like Christmas music anyways, but but I was wondering, it's like, well, why would you hate Last Christmas? I never got that, but if you hear it like that, I'm sure you would. The funniest thing, remember that song "Break My Stride"?
Yeah, Matthew Wilder.
Yeah, Matthew Wilder, right. So this one time, I lived outside of Boston when I was a teenager, and we used to take the train into the city, and we were going to see Fleetwood Mac, like me and a friend of mine that was scared dead of the city, and he just was horrified by, and with me, I love that kind of stuff, seeing oddballs and weirdos. And there was like we'll call it mentally challenged, because I can't say retard anymore.
No,
but
you
on
can.
the train,
on this show you can.
Okay, on the train, and he had a boombox, and he started. It was the first time I had ever heard that song. And he kept playing it over and over again, and I was laughing, dying laughing, because never mind, it's like ain't nothing going to break in my stride. And it's like the lyrics, and my friend was getting so mad. He's like, fruit bats. So the city's floated with fruit bats, and the kid was obviously challenged,
Yeah.
But it just made me anything, especially if somebody's getting upset, it just made me laugh even more the more and more he played it.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the guy who wrote it standing next to me.
Dan there's a bar stool on stage, and he put one leg up on the bar stool while this guy was singing.
Oh, fuck, that's funny.
And he had his laptop on stage. He'd go over and press a button, and a Robin sound effect would come up.
So that's different.
Oh, that's what he was playing the sound effects.
Oh, then he's not.
Well, there was like one sound effect, though. He walked over and pushed it, and that was it.
Hi, I'm a douche.
What do we got? You want to go into... These guys were playing Welcome to the Jungle before. I want to hear Welcome to Robin's Bunghole. What do you say?
Crowded.
All right, here's Welcome
on stage. Who's that guy? I know Artie, and I know like maybe Sal, but who's that?
Well, everybody got a segment. It was me, Levy, Richard, Dan, and Shulie, and my buddy Paul hosted it. So Dan went out, and he had like 15 minutes to do whatever he wanted. I thought he was going to do mostly songs. He did some stand-up first.
Oh, no.
Who did?
Dan?
Dan does stand-up?
He's trying, he's starting, but...
Oh, God. I can't even imagine. Wow. You know, I did another open mic last week, and it was actually quite good. I was just doing crowd work, and I had some, did some new bits, whatever, and it was pretty good. It was a good crowd, but they had to get warmed up. By the time I was, the first few guys ate such copious dicks, because they're just, at a night people show up, they haven't even started drinking, whatever, and you need people lubed up a little bit before you can do anything, and it was just like that. But this one guy came on, and he just, I don't know what the whole point was. He was just kind of staring at the crowd like a 1,000-yard stare, and then he would say some odd noises or something like that. And I go, so it's like almost like an Andy Kaufman type thing. Yeah. But no one cares about that type of shit in 2024. You got to have jokes.
So what was the point of it? He did just
I have no idea.
People feel uneasy. Or?
He was trying to make people feel uneasy, or like he's meant. The people didn't know, is he mentally retarded or what? Something is he just some guy like some rando that got up on stage because it's an open mic, that kind of thing. But one guy said he used the term Down syndrome in a joke. And I have a Down syndrome joke that I struck from my repertoire, because the last time I did it, I split the room in half, and half of them, they just were dying laughing, but then the other half were, horrified. And I lost them after that, because they couldn't get on board, because they were all like millennials at the time.
Well, can you tell the joke?
It was just...
Oh, you got to lead into it, like?
Well, yeah, no. Basically, I said I'd seen, it was around the time that Django Unchained came out.
Oh yeah.
And that was the song that was the movie that soured me on Tarantino, because after that I've never seen a film of his. I just refused to watch Inglourious Bastards as well. I hated that, so I just kind of got fed up with him. I said, it's not edgy to use the N-word in all over your movie, and then this a lot of blood and whatever. Edgy would be remaking Pulp Fiction with nothing but Down syndrome actors. So then I started doing impressions.
I would like.
Oh, more. That's why I go like, does Marcellus Wallace look like a bitch? Like just doing the voices, or The Godfather, doing with this voice. And anyway, it was like I said, if you were a certain age, you would have laughed at it. But if you were, and so this guy used the word retard, and I thought for sure that every young kid in there would have been like throwing things at him and stuff. No, they were, at this point, there might have been a bit of a generational overturn enough that they don't care anymore, and it's not as woke as you think. People are a little more acceptable, amenable to certain words, but and I shouldn't say the word woke. I hate using that, but snowflakes or whatever. Anyway, but for stand-up, that guy that got up and just did the sounds, I'm thinking he just wanted attention, I think, more than anything.
You want to hear a horrible story? That's when they told me the story at school, and I was like, "Oh, you guys are heartless." So my best friend in high school, like when we were in middle school, and he told me there was a girl across the street from him that had Down syndrome.
Okay.
And she used to run around the yard with wearing Mickey Mouse ears, and she'd come running out of the house with Mickey Mouse ears. So they started calling her Mongoloid Mouse.
Okay.
And then and I was like, oh my God, you guys are cruel, And then so one time I was over the house, and they go, here she comes. And my friend yells out the window, "Hey, Mouse!" like that.
God.
And I lost it. It was funny. It means so bad taste, but it was really funny.
Oh man.
It was like his Mongoloid mouse. And I'm like, oh my God. And then when I saw it and they yelled, "Hey mouse," and she's like stopped and she's looking around confused with the mouse he is on.
Poor girl.
I know. But if you were there, like you would have lost it too. It just you had to see it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that wasn't received well. But then he went into these songs which people loved.
Right. Stick to the songs.
Right.
From the Robbins bunghole for serious salad.
All right. I'll listen to this.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, there you are.
So
There's
he
Dan.
did that.
Now he's standing there.
But actually, listen to the band here. They're really good.
Yeah, they're good.
Can hear them better.
Can hear them better now.
Oh, they got to get this big build up.
Why not?
I mean, if it's like a Howard Stern convention, I suppose this makes sense. But at a comedy show like New Year's, do you really like if you're going to see comedy? This is the interesting thing. Maybe you tell me what you feel about this. In the old days, like let's say in the 70s, often a comedian would be opening up as an MC or the opening act for a music band. Back in the day, that was pretty common. And in Vegas, that was more normal. But these days, most people I find if they want to go to comedy, they're going to comedy. If they want music, they're going to music, but they don't want to mix.
Well, I know Florentine and Jim Norton used to open up for bands, and they weren't too big on it. I guess like Florentine could win him over because he's a metal guy.
Yeah,
but still, it's like that's a rough thing. Who was the other one that used to open up? Jim Brewer. I think he was opening for AC/DC.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Shulie, stand up. He opened up for this. He's in front of this crowd. I can't remember if the video is still there, and he's just eating a massive dick. As you might expect. Okay, hold on.
It was for a band?
Yeah. Hold on. Stand up. Opening Orion Music Festival. 6/24/12.
I know how a boat oar is made, all right? I don't live near water, I don't own a fucking boat, but I watched it. Why? Because Blueberry Cheesecake was in the same episode. I was fucking hungry. By the way, how many of you guys saw the band that was up here before? All I kept thinking when I was watching them is I played trumpet in high school, and I never looked anywhere near that cool. I'll tell you that much right now. I knew a tuba player in high school. He got his ass kicked, and their tuba player, I guarantee you, has never gotten their ass kicked in a million years.
Like this, it just doesn't fit. It says here he performed Sunday on Frantic Stage before Jim Brewer and Charred Walls of the Damned. No one who's going to see Charred Walls of the Damned cares about comedy.
Isn't that Richard Christie's second band?
Yes, I believe he played on some of their albums. I don't know if he played live with them, but yeah.
No, I thought that he named the band because it was from one of the Crank phone calls.
Maybe
like one of the Tradios where the guy's like, "You're gonna live in a room of the charred walls of the damned," and then that's where Richard took the name from.
Could
I thought he was a drummer for that band, and so he's just opening for Richard Christie, and he's still bombing.
Yeah, but then again, like I said, there's that's a music crowd, not necessarily a Stern crowd,
right?
Especially in 2012, right?
Yeah, but I think like Jim Brewer got known for opening for metal bands.
Maybe.
Because he did that AC/DC imitation. He did like an AC/DC imitation.
I like that we have a live version now.
Yeah, we could go to that.
Dan had this one.
And I'm just thinking of the visual of Dan standing there.
Wait, I got
big smile on his face, all proud of
That's
himself.
all he did.
Yeah, the other thing is like the song parodies don't usually go on that long. You have to do a whole 3-minute song of a song parody.
I think it's kind of you burn it out. Yeah, they're better off when they're just little short bits. I mean, like there's so many of them, but I mean, or it's just a chorus, right?
One of the best ones I've only heard it once was Sal doing one for Poker Face. You know the Lady Gaga song.
Lady Gaga song, yeah.
But it was like it was a Gary song called Monkey Face. And it said Baba Booey, Ta Ta Toothy. You know, it was really well put together, but they only played it once. And it was like, wow, what a waste. And that Sal put into that. And it was actually well thought out and moved along.
Yeah.
And, for Monkey Face.
Well, there was a time when that was kind of it was expected, I guess. You got to get more of them, but a lot of them would have been fan submissions. My favorite are the shitty song parodies. Like there's a clip I think we might have played it where they decide they're going to play some fan submissions, and some of them were so awful that they were funny. Like they really were that bad.
Oh yeah, the ones where a guy would just sing over the song. You could still hear the other vocals and the on the tape, and he just sing over them.
Hold on, let me see if I could find Robin's squeeze box. Hold on.
Yeah, you can hear Roger Daltrey still in the background.
Oh, this is it. Okay, here we go. Yeah. This might be it. Let's see.
Now it's time for Robin and the news.
Robin's got a squeeze box, just look at her chest. When Mr. X gets home, he ain't getting no rest, cause she wants it tonight. And her booty's so tight. Robin's got a squeeze box, break out the zucchini tonight.
That's Goody Dickman.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's exactly the kind of what we were talking about.
That's funny shit.
And he had this one cool rock star move.
Shulie,
He had this one cool rock star move that he would point out into the audience, like somebody was like waving to him or something. He'd be like, "Hey man, I see you. What's up?" Wow. It's so gay.
He was pointing at you.
Hey man, what's up?
Yeah,
I love you too, man.
He did the rock star point.
He did, remember?
I was driving around listening to you and Pharrell on the replay. You guys were funny together.
Dude, I love doing his show, man.
Yeah,
He's so much fun, man.
You're good with him.
We pranked him. We freaked him out.
You're funny on there, man.
Thank you, man.
You do a good job.
Hey, man, thank you.
I got a bunch of email about your sign-off that you created, the Shalom Biatch.
Oh, yeah.
What do you say?
I say shalom. I used to just say shalom, everybody, but then I throw in a biatch. I'd be like, shalom, biatch.
This guy got me thinking, like you're part of the news department, and you're trying to sort of like get your own little thing going during the news, and it's supposed to sound like real news.
It's not like I have a website with a bunch of pictures of everybody up on it.
Well, first of all, what's funny about it? That stupid sign-off. I never found that funny. I mean, or him for that matter.
Remember they made fun of Stutter and John for when he was on the Tonight Show. He'd lift his coffee cup as like a salute, and I didn't think that was. I don't know. That wasn't so bad. But the Shalom BH thing. It was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And also, he crutched hard on the "I'm Jewish" angle,
right?
And I mean, I've said it before. Like if you're an Italian, like there's guys that did it. Jeff Foxworthy did the redneck stuff, and Larry the Cable Guy. Pat Cooper did Italian stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you can crutch on that, but it's limiting. You know what I mean? Like you can only go so far. But with Shulie, it seemed like I'll try anything I can to make myself funny, but a lot of that it falls flat because you just. I don't know. Something about the delivery, something about the material is just inherently mostly really bland and unfunny, his stories.
Have you ever know how he recorded an album once, like all fucked up, and then one?
Yeah, that's the Shulogy. He released two. Yeah. One's drunk and one's loaded, and one's sober and one's. We were supposed to cover that, me and Len.
That's what I was going to say. Did you ever get to sit down and listen to that?
I have listened to it, and I swear to Christ, I had to take breaks in it because I was so. You could get Shulied out in a second. So imagine listening to whole minutes of him.
He'd have to do like a 12-parter, like the tape. I mean, like the book ones or something.
Maybe
like the Robin book, and just to get through, like especially a double set of it.
Yeah, brutal.
Who has that?
Lisa G.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's supposed to sound like why should you have your own sign off? What if everybody starts coming up with a sign off?
But you know what? He's like the comic relief of news, like one of those.
I'm like the kooky
guys, who goes out and does the goofy stories.
No, maybe he shouldn't be so fucking goofy.
I can't help it, dude. Look at me. What else am I gonna do?
Yeah, I gotta read this to you. It annoys people. Here.
Getting a reaction. That's good.
You got like 50 pages. Okay. Can you please prohibit Shulie? How do you spell your fucking name anyway?
Shuli.
Oh, yeah. He's S-H.
So what's the story on his podcast? I know somebody got in trouble for kiddie porn or something, but does it still go on?
It does. His ex-producer got done in for not just, like, when I say child porn, laptops full of it. Apprehended, laptops full of it, distribution, which could mean streaming, not streaming, but like file sharing, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that counts as distribution, even if you're just seeding it, right? And and then, but like, and the wife had caught him a bunch of times, and just said, okay, well, I'll pass this off as I don't know how you get over that in the slightest, to give him a second chance, except if you have a kid with him, I suppose. But my God, so he got done in, and then Shulie, then for a while there, the anti-Shulie contingent on Reddit were just posting all kinds of videos with Shulie and this guy on the show and interacting with him. And I'll be flat out, I don't believe Shulie knew the guy was a pedophile because I mean, you'd be opening yourself up to so many problems if you actually knew this person and you were seen with him, whatever. People would be looking at you differently. You'd get painted with that brush.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine that he knew anything that this was going on.
Yeah.
But it sounded like when you said laptops, that means this guy was really
he was collecting
into this.
Hardcore. Yeah. I don't know how many gigabytes of video and stuff. And just anyway, he got busted.
Yeah, the thing's funny is, it's not funny at all, but they were talking on the Bennington show about this, and they had a guy on that was a cop, and pretty much he said that if somebody sends you a picture and you just delete it, then you're not going to get in any trouble. But if you distribute it, that's how you get nailed.
Yeah.
And he was like saying, he said, well, they had like a big AOL sting operation down in Florida, and guess who was wrapped up in that? My uncle.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Well, my mother kind of thought it didn't surprise my mother because I guess he showed her. He's a photographer. He was. He died now, but he's dead now. But he actually jail did good for him because it sobered him up. But he had taken a bunch of pictures of some kids at the beach. Okay. And my mother's like, she's like, you really shouldn't be taking pictures of kids that you don't know. And he's like, no, I'm just taking them for. Because I'm a photographer. Purposes.
Yeah.
Well, like it reminds me of the Kinks song, and I'm an art lover. Yeah. It's like, yeah, sure. But anyways, my mother had warned him and said, no, you shouldn't be taking pictures of kids that you don't know who these kids are. And that's why when it came out, it was like, oof, My mother's like, I told him not to do it. And then he tried to use the Pete Townsend defense that it was research.
It was research.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's a Who fan, so he probably heard Pete Townsend got away with it. And
right, but he's Pete Townsend and you're you.
But not even that. It's like even if Pete Townsend might have used a credit card because he was abused as a kid, that's not going to work for somebody that's a nobody, and number two is like you don't have a history of this shit.
Well, the Pete Townsend thing just sounds bad because you think, okay, he's kind of creepy looking and whatever, and who knows, and but then you read about it and it's like, no, he didn't. They did a forensic search of his phones, his computers, and they said there's no child porn on here. He just literally wanted to prove that there was a connection, a credit, like there's money being transacted here. This is the proof of it. Take this to the cops and whatever, and didn't realize you're plugging yourself into this world. Do not go in there.
But see, I don't think my uncle knew, because I've read Pete Townsend's book, so I know the situation. But I think he just heard that's how he got away with it, but it didn't work for him. But yeah, it was a whole sting, and it was funny because it was on the Bennington show.
Yeah.
Shulie. Shulie. Can you please prohibit Shulie from doing that totally awful and aggravating Shalom Biatch? He thinks he's doing some cute little bit of branding, but it honestly cancels out anything he says during his news brief. It totally sucks.
Have you heard my news briefs, though? What's it canceling out? I'm doing a story about the weight of high-pitch Eric shit in a bag, and that's canceling out the news piece for you? Sorry, pal.
The other thing that bugged the hell out of me with him was the underdog woman stuff.
Yep.
Like you saw, like I sent you a clip of her on Beyond Vaudeville.
Yes.
And they actually were they didn't do anything like what Stern did with her.
No.
They just kind of had her on and let her do that. And they weren't making fun of her. They just had odd people on there. But Shulie, like the way he'd kind of use her, and I don't know. It just at that point she was like an old lady, and it really got sad. It was really sad.
Around the first, I think it was the first year we started QF, and around Christmas of 2020, around that time, maybe 2021 it was. I can't remember exactly when Shulie left, but he did a bit with Wendy the Retard where he'd gone out to her whatever she lived, the trailer home she lived in.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then wanted to film her like shitting in the car or something like that, whatever. We played audio of it and we were all just like, you fucking asshole. Like what in the God's name makes you think that this is what you're doing to keep, getting sort of paid by the Stern Show in 2021 or whatever it was. Yeah. And I was disgusted. I just kind of go like, dude, you have that you'll do anything for money then.
And see, I love the underdog woman stuff that was on the Channel 9 show when Stutter and John did the Planet of the Apes dance with her.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I loved it. I thought it was funny, but then it got to the point where, and even, I don't know, they'd had her on later on, and then they kind of like mended the fences with her, but then again it started going south again as soon as he got her back in again.
Yeah,
back talking once Shulie would talk to her, and he was just like an enabler, and I thought that was kind of dirty pool. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's not like I'm doing it at a story about Tikrit or fucking the Green Zone in Baghdad. It's about, Siobhan's fake pussy. And this guy's mad that I'm saying shalom at the end of it.
Well, that's why
fucking douchebags.
You're not doing anything serious.
God forbid I try.
Yeah, but I mean, it does ruin the, like it's sort of an illusion in that the news is like a serious thing and then you're shalom bitch. Or biatch, whatever.
The whole point is right. It's supposed to sound like we're taking that seriously.
Well, I'm wondering if there shouldn't be some discussion about that.
Gravitas. You let me know, man. I'll do whatever gravitas. Can I change it to gravitas?
Yeah, maybe gravitas. George Flowers should say gravitas after gravitas.
So let me get this straight. So Shulie can't say shalom bitch, but they can say Lisa G takes shits at work and.
Well, but Lisa G didn't come up with that. That was the Richard and Sal. Yeah. So, but yeah, and they got a point. Like if it's supposed to be serious news, like George, what's his name? The one that Steve Langford. I can remember she'd say, "Steve Langford has a huge penis, whatever."
They had George Flowers that was totally straight news guy.
Yeah, and I mean that was the joke. Like the story, the joke is the story that they're reading in that news voice, that Wink Martindale voice, but they're playing it totally straight. That's where the humor. But Shulie's like, I'm loaded with desire for self-affirmation or whatever. So I'm going to create branding so that you recognize me and you notice me more than these other people because I'm so hungry and thirsty for fame. It's retarded.
Gravitas, ladies and gentlemen.
Gravitas. Oh, wait, Dan, this song Parody Man wants to
defend himself.
Hey, Dan.
How's it going, everybody?
I heard you had a big New Year's.
Wow. Yeah, I don't even really need to defend myself, but in my defense, I was out there for Robin's bunghole because I had just done a song with Artie. Me and him did a duet, which was great. I mean,
yeah, but dude, during bunghole, you really.
Why did you have Artie didn't stay?
Yeah, Artie left. Like, why would you stand there and point?
I don't know. I was playing the Robin, as they said. I had to run over to the laptop in the beginning. I had to fire up some sound.
Nobody else could do that.
So the standing there pointing, doesn't that sound familiar? It sounds kind of like how you do a Rob Zombie duet.
You mean that footage of him at the MTV Awards with Rob Zombie or whatever? That is one of the cringiest, or the Private Parts premiere. It looks. Someone was just mentioning that on Patreon. It might have been Sean Kemp, but he said like that's one of the douchiest moments I've ever seen. Or the Long Beach one, the one that we covered a little bit of that.
That was back back when I was married, and that stuff was all going on, and there'd be things like that. My ex-wife, it was a touchy subject before we got married about the Howard Stern thing, but then she became a fan,
right?
And she'd be shocked if she knew what I was doing right now of the bashing. But he'd always do stuff that would make me cringe, like with her there, and that was one of them.
The Rob Zombie song going on stage with him,
and then stuff with the New Year's Rotten Eve. There was some funny shit on it, but for the most part, it was just I don't. There'd be things that he's like, what's he doing this for? This, and it'd make me feel like cringe with her sitting there,
Well, his TV appearances have been like they're just if you look at his batting average, it's awful. Whereas if you Google, I don't know, just about any random comic, even somebody like Seinfeld, like on Carson,
right?
As little of a fan as I am of Seinfeld, he would always bring it to that show when he wanted to get on because he knew it was important.
Well, there was all kinds of stuff like who was Suzanne Vega. He was interviewing Suzanne Vega, and my ex-wife loves Susan Vega.
We're going to cover that. We're going to cover that show one day. Yeah, because we did the Richard Lewis one, and we did the what was the other one? I think it was it wasn't Brenner. Hold on, Richard Lewis was one, and the one we did first. God, it's gonna bother me until I figure it out. Either way, it was just a train wreck because he did one with Kiss and he did one with you said Suzanne Vega, Moon Zappa, Moon Zappa, and then Frank calls in. That one's really awful to listen to because, and having read Moon's new book actually, Earth to Moon is a great book. And what it tells about her life growing up Zappa, and she had a fucking horrible life growing up with those two nudniks. I mean, Frank was more of an absentee. He was like a Howard, like an absentee father, but her mother was a narcissistic, vindictive, petty fucking psychopath bitch.
Interesting. There's another one that was a real cringe one that I think the worst of those Howard Stern interviews was one that. I forget what she was. It was a girl. I think she played a nurse on like some kind of Vietnam show or something. And they reenacted. I don't know. They reenacted a Dracula thing.
Okay.
And it's really horrible. If you can find that one, if you want to make it, he's like Mina, like doing the Dracula voice, and it's just so bad.
Yeah.
If you like when you come across those, but I remember that one, and she was sitting there watching with me, and I'm like sitting there, I was like, all right, let's move on. This is ridiculous.
I always said, even at the old place, I said, and I stand by it. If you ever wanted to convince your friend to be a fan of the Stern Show, the absolute worst thing you could do is show him an appearance of Stern on late night.
Yeah, right.
Like
I know.
He would always say, I can't believe you find this guy funny.
No, I know. And then you'd watch it, and then the next day you'd go in and listen to it on the radio, and they'd talk about how great it was, and I was like, nah, it wasn't great.
No.
I remember one time he was going to be on. My friends from Canada were down, and they had a Sirius subscription through me, like they used my address because they didn't have Sirius in Canada yet, but they could still it was still transmitted there.
Yeah. Okay,
So they were down, and we watched. I think it was the one with the basketball player when he went on that show, and he was just brutal.
Magic Johnson.
Yeah, Magic Johnson show.
Yeah, we haven't covered that yet,
all of us, and we were fans. Like we were all fans, and we were all just kind of sitting there, not laughing and looking at each other, like, what's going on?
Yeah, zero humor. Yeah.
Robin, I had to run your entire orgasm during the end of it, which was great.
What is that? Shulie describes you pointing to various people. What was that about?
I think that was my one fan in the audience. Dan, I love you. So I pointed back to her. I said, I love you too.
There's one guy who kept moving around.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it was a great time, and if I can defend the sound guy, man, they brought in a completely separate sound company from what they normally use.
They did.
Good move.
Well, then they should have hooked it up to the radio broadcast.
Well, you know what the problem is? The sound guy adjusts the sound for the dynamics of the room, and then it gets handed off as like a direct feed to Sirius. When we do like
whatever. You know what?
Yeah.
Excuses. You know, it's got to sound right.
No, but this
is a live concert broadcast. You bring in two completely different sound companies. Everything gets
whatever,
and the guy does a complete different.
I hear you do stand up now.
Yeah, what's some of your stuff?
Shulie, is it bad?
Let me tell you, I really think that they like me in Philly because I heard that in Philadelphia language, when the crowd chants Artie, Artie, Artie over what you're saying, that means.
How bad was he, Shulie?
Well, I mean, look, Dan hasn't been doing stand-up a long time, so he's not great at it. But you know, he's had some rough moments here and there.
What's this note I got? Tell Dan to do his philosophical joke. What is that?
But Dan, do your philosophical joke for him.
I have no idea what my philosophical.
Oh, come on, dude, you know the joke.
To fill your esophagus if you have time after the show. But
what? Wow.
I might laugh at how awful it was, but that's about it. But yeah, this is let me see. I think he'll try it again.
What was he saying? They were cheering. He thought it was good because they were cheering.
He thought it was good because they were cheering Artie. Yeah, like what is that telling you?
Kind of like if it's a punk show and they spit on you, that means they like you.
That's exactly it. The same metaphor. Yeah.
You know, can I say one thing though? One nice thing. Richard fucking killed.
What does it sound?
Dan, do the joke where when you say something to a girl about philosophizing.
Philosophy. That was a long time ago. I said to a girl in real life, I don't want to get philosophical. No, she said, don't get philosophical on me. And I said, I'm not going to. I just want to fill your esophagus. It was just an awesome fun. But
that's the joke. Oh man, welcome Albert Brooks. Oh,
wow.
Man.
Let me tell you, Richard kicked fucking ass. Not just a drum solo, but his stand-up. He did more time than I ever seen him do before.
All right.
It was great.
Hey, Howard.
Everyone loves a drum solo.
Real quick, Dan, do the Steve Irwin jokes, because those are really good.
Oh, thanks. Come on, that was the day after Steve Irwin died.
Yeah, and that was clever. It was the day after. Go ahead, do it.
Let me hear it.
It's passé. I'm not going to do it. I can't even remember.
Was it really bad, Sal?
The night that I did it. Next time we
what was his joke?
I'll bring
you ever go in your house and you can't find the dog shit? What? That's what the audience looks like when Dan's on stage. Like, where did that come from? Who stepped in it?
You know, the thing is,
God bless Sal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's piling on, but this is the difference. I don't think Sal thinks Dan is an asshole, but Shulie comes in and you could kind of tell there's already, contempt in his voice for Dan.
And that's because he's paid his dues.
Yeah, of course.
This is real funny. You throw me out under the bus on me.
Wait. He does have a great Ronnie joke. Do the great Ronnie joke, please.
Please. I'm not doing my act on the air. Come on. It barely works.
Dan, it's not an act. Just do the jokes.
I'll be there before the show's over. I'm happy to beat the piss out of Sal.
Just tell me your material. That'll kill me like the rest of the audience, Dan.
Hey, Sal, where were you? Getting pussy whipped on New Year's Eve?
I pretty much was, yeah.
Yeah, all right, Dan.
But this is the second time that Sirius approached me with a gig about putting it on the radio. And again, I'm not exactly Marconi, but I just tell him, look, guys, it's very hard. Like, you got to make sure it just sounds good. Otherwise, it's going to sound like noise. And,
right. No, the music's got to be mic'd the proper way.
It's a whole different scene when you're mic'd.
All right, we got that. Thanks, Dan.
All right, I'll see you guys
Dan,
later.
the song Parody Man, big part of the show. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, they didn't really promote like this. I don't remember this New Year's Eve with Artie thing.
Well, I'll have to check the archive and see. It's 2007 or so. Going into 2008. Sometimes those episodes do get lost in the shuffle, but they were horrible at promoting their own stuff.
Yeah, I never heard about this until just now. I mean, I've heard this episode, but I didn't hear that there was a New Year's Eve Artie show.
Right.
Being streamed.
I did a show with him in Florida, and as he's on stage one night and he's bombing bad, and this guy walks up to me out of the corner and he goes, "Who wrote this shit for him?" And I go, "Who the fuck you think wrote it for him?" Who's running up going, "I did."
Yeah.
Nobody. I go, "He wrote it."
Wait,
what do you
he's
think?
got a writer?
There's nobody standing on stage with him.
Who wrote this shit?
Bob Hope's writer.
You know what's great about these guys? They're like, "Oh, your stuff's great. Your stuff's great." They just want you to go up there and fuck up.
Right.
But Dan, when did you think?
I didn't have listen, and I didn't have a great set. I had a good 7-8 minutes in Philly, and then next thing you know, they turned on me like crazy, man. They just went after me.
You had like 2.5 good minutes, and then they fucking devoured you. But like a pro, you went through your entire set. You didn't cut it short, and you just went through your material.
Is that really like a pro? Or
okay? Now, first of all, there's certain circumstances where the crowd is just never going to be on your side, and you're pissing into an ocean. Like it doesn't matter what you say; they're not there for you. That Bill Burr Philly rant is one of the funniest things ever.
Well, Philly's that's a rough town. If they don't like you, they'll throw batteries at you. Remember they threw snowballs at Santa.
Oh, and, when Iggy, I was thinking about Detroit when Iggy Pop opened up for the Stones on the 81 tour, the one they did. What was the Still Life? I think was the live album, and Iggy Pop opened for the Stones, and he's at the Pontiac Silverdome. And there were like, I don't know, 80, 100,000 people throwing shit at him like the entire set. So Bill Graham took him backstage and he said, Iggy, we got an itemized list of everything they threw at you. Why don't you go back up on stage and read out the list and thank them for all the donations? So Iggy went back up there. He goes, I'd like to thank you all for the following: 47 batteries. Yay. One like 16 sets of keys. Yay. Whatever. And they all, when he read the entire list, and they gave him a standing ovation.
I think Stones fans, I don't think that's really an Iggy crowd.
No, it's not. I mean, do you remember? And also, sometime on the Steel Wheels tour, Living Colour opened up for Rolling Stones, and and that's because Mick Jagger produced the first album, Time's Up.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh.
I believe so, and to be honest, as much as I liked Cult of Personality, and I didn't really care for that album because that fucking song, open letter to a landlord, it's one of the cringiest fucking songs. And then their second album, Time's Up, that was really good. I liked that one a lot.
They've the Black Earl that's on the Bennington show is friends with them. He has a thing called the Black Rock Coalition, and so he's friends with them. Yeah.
Vernon Reid remember we talked that Riffs episode. We never really gave Vernon Reid any props. And the thing is with him, as good as he is, I always thought he was doing his own version of Greg Ginn from Black Flag.
Yeah.
Like Greg Ginn's messy solos, but they were, Rollins would say, look, they might have seemed like they were unpracticed, but he was meticulous. Like they were designed to sound messy.
Yeah, that's I didn't know the Iggy story that you just told, though. I had never heard that one. That's funny. I've never read an Iggy biography.
I think there is one called American Caesar, named after the album, I think, but I think it's an autobiography, and those I tend to like to avoid because often the person in question is not going to be as honest as you want them to.
Right.
So, but I was thinking about actually we were talking about Iggy. There's a show from the Brick by Brick tour in Paris. I can't remember what it's called, but it's filmed. It's professionally filmed with the backing band, which was more like a metal band than a punk band, but and not like the Instinct sound. This was his more poppy face, but he's in Paris and he takes down his pants. He starts whipping his dick out and stuff. But only Iggy could do that. I don't know how it's managed to stay on YouTube, but the sounds of the older songs like the Lust for Life and Raw Power and No Fun, where he pulls out the guitar and starts playing, he's in top form. And he had just been clean. Like at that point, he cleaned himself up from drugs and stuff. Maybe the best front man of all time.
Was this like after the Germany stuff with Bowie? That after that time?
This is 1990. I'm talking.
Oh, okay. This is really more recent. Yeah. Okay.
More recently, and he would be like, I don't know, 40, 41, something like that, and he's in tip-top shape.
I think I saw him probably around 92, and he was in great shape when I saw him.
Yeah, just
look it up.
Let me see if I can find it. Hold on, I'll just play a little.
Because they have an album for it. It's Iggy at the Channel in Boston, and I was at that show. One of the hottest shows I was ever in my life. I was soaked when I came out, but I couldn't believe how old he was, like, and what he was doing.
Okay, Kiss My Blood. So let's go with, let's see, Lust for Life, just for the sake of argument, just to starts off. I'll have to soup it up in the mix, but...
Hey, brothers! I want to be up there with you, getting fucked and getting fucked up. I hate this fucking world. But I'm on top of it, baby. Now let's get down.
Yeah, this is how he was when I saw him, still in great shape. That's why I get a kick out of Robert Smith. Everybody loves Robert Smith, and he does nothing. Just stands there.
Well, and you're a Cure fan. Like, that's the funny part. Like, you're able to separate like the band versus the live, like the live, whatever you see them live and whatever you hear on the record.
Yeah.
And some bands just don't translate well to live.
The Cure is like this. They have songs I love, and then they have songs that I just hate.
Yeah.
And and the new album I tried listening to, and I was too bored. But everybody gets cut. Yeah, like Rolling Stone. It's just because who they are. It's the same as like how Depeche Mode can get 5 stars now when they're just coasting.
Yeah.
And people are just craving for the Cure to do something. So I think that's why it got 5 stars, and everybody's going gaga over it. And I just thought it was just like, whatever.
Sometimes these bands just get lionized and canonized, like when they come back because they're like, oh, we're so desperate for this. There was talk of a Smiths reunion recently, and but you can't. I think it was Mike Joyce just passed away, or Andy Rourke. One of the I think the bassist. Yeah, he like I hate to say it, but they are replaceable. The drummer and the bassist are replaceable. But if you don't have them, then it isn't a proper reunion. And all of a sudden, but it would be so cynical. I can't imagine they'd do it except for money reasons. And I don't think I'd want to go.
I'd say I'd go. That's because I see both of them separate.
Yeah.
Like every time Johnny Marr comes to Boston, I see him. Every time Morrissey comes, I see him too.
Morrissey has a bad reputation of canceling gigs.
Oh yeah, it's happened to me twice.
Yeah,
2 times. Well, one time he came out. He went on Letterman, and Letterman was, I guess the studio is really cold, and it is because I've been there twice.
Mm-hmm.
And but I loved it. But they keep it. I think they keep it down around 60, which is fine for me. But Morrissey got sick from it. Because he doesn't eat enough meat, probably.
Yeah.
But he got a cold, so he came out and he sang like 2 songs, and his voice was just shot.
Yeah.
And then they canceled the show. But then what he did is he came back, and when he came back to redo the show to make up for it, he did like an extra half hour worth of music for us. So it was fine. Cool. And then there was another show that I had seats to, and he just canceled it, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's just stupidity. It's like if I'm bombing, I'm getting out of there.
I gotta say, no, that was professional. Shulie got it the worst out of anybody. The crowd was just like, they were like evil, and I mean, he did stay up there. What do you?
Yeah, but maybe they also fucking hated him and thought he was a hack.
You know what? I've heard Shulie on the Bennington show when he comes on as a guest. Right. He's actually likable.
Really?
Yeah, he doesn't try as hard when he was with Ron, on that show.
Oh,
he wasn't there was no attitude. It was just him kind of just sitting there talking.
I don't think he could afford to have an attitude with Bennington, because Bennington would just fucking call him out on it. Bennington's far too smart. He's too smart. He's smarter than 1,000 Shulies.
Oh yeah, no, he can spot the phoniness and if somebody's trying to pull something with him, he's not going to put up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna do. I mean,
and I got him back at the end. I pissed them all off in one shot, which was good.
You're funny on those roasts, so just say, "Hey guys, I was funny on the roasts."
No, you know what? It just some of my act requires people to just pay attention for like 10 seconds, and when they're that loaded, they just can't do it, man.
No, not that crowd. You don't have any time there.
Yeah, you got to remember, you're in Philly.
Do you get big money being in Artie's show New Year's Eve?
Huge money.
Really?
No, Artie takes good care of me, man.
Yes.
Artie takes good care. Yeah, absolutely.
Sal's dying to know what you got paid.
I'm
Really?
never telling Sal. I don't want that.
Well, when did Dan decide that he wanted to be in stand-up?
I've been dabbling in it for about a year, and of course I can do pretty good in the small clubs, but a crowd like that, it's a totally different scene.
How much material would you say you have, time-wise?
I can do 20 minutes. I can do a good 3 minutes.
Why are you shaking your head, Shulie?
Because I don't know, Artie can vouch. It's the hardest thing about this job is writing, and it takes a long time to get a solid. I'm talking a solid 20 minutes.
Especially with these crowds. Like what happened to Shulie the other night has absolutely nothing to do with the kind of comic he is. These were just crazy people. So you have to do it.
I think it's funny that Dan stood on stage with the band while they played.
And they love
That's a funny bit. That could get big laughs.
I was also doing the backing vocals on Robin's Bunghole. I had the wireless, and those 2 times during the entire
Is that true, Shulie?
I cannot confirm or deny that.
All right, thank you, Dan. All right.
I like that he just stands there.
Is Alice on the phone? Or I guess no one's on the phone for this.
The football pitch?
Football pool.
Hey, Howard,
yeah.
We had Alice on. She hung up. We're getting her back, and it looks like we're about to get Bigfoot on.
All right. What about Elliot Offen?
No luck.
No luck.
Elliot,
Okay.
no luck. Well, maybe that's our luck.
Thanks again, Artie, for the New Year's gig.
No problem. Thanks for coming.
Shalom, biatch.
Yeah, maybe.
I wish people would have heard it.
that.
I wish people would have heard it more.
Shalom, biatch. Okay. What?
Okay, we'll leave it at there. There's no more left there. So let me just go continue from that 1 sec. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The football pool thing used to be a riot when they had those characters on, especially when Alice, he's like, he'd just say like some little thing under the breath. He's like, well, that was some stupid picks. And then it would set her off like, fuck you, Artie. I used to love that.
Oh, those were the best. I could listen to those for hours.
The guy, like, we used to sit in a group of us at work, and while we were working, and there was the guy that sat next to me. He'd just have his head down in tears, like laughing. And there was one time he called her a big couch.
Like a big brown couch.
Yeah, a big brown couch.
Oh,
and he was in tears laughing. That was like the highlight of our week, that football pool.
Hold on. Let's see. Eric the Midget. Hold on. Let's see. I think this is it. Let's see which one it is. Artie and Eric the Midget. Yin and Yang. This is it. Hold on.
By the way, my Eric.
See you later, man.
My Eric Stack.
All right, buddy.
Open today. Is open today.
Take care, Eric. Thanks for calling. All right. Thanks, bro.
TV.
And next call. Yep. See you later. Great. Right. Later on, man.
All right. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
It's www.
I'll see you later, Eric. All right, buddy. We'll see you. Thanks, man.
Shut the fuck up, fat ass.
Bye, Eric. Go fuck yourself, Eric. Eric, listen, thanks, and go fuck yourself.
That slab?
All right? Go to a room and fuck yourself, Eric. Instead of fucking your bed, fuck yourself. Bye, shithead.
Did you say badass?
I love it. I love when he would abuse those guys. The crazy owl stuff, those legendary stuff. Anyway, well, we're going to wrap this one up, guys. We hope you've enjoyed it. We did have another clip ready, but it's 15 minutes, and we're just not going to be able to do it justice in the time I got to record. So, sorry it's a shorty, but we hope you've enjoyed it. Wayne, any closing thoughts?
No, just hope all the QFers and all the staff and everybody has had a good Christmas, and I'm going to have a good 2025.
Yeah.
And hope there's a lot of good shows coming up for the next year.
Yeah, me too. I'll be on location following this episode, guys. I don't know the order of when they're going to fall, but I'll be on location, and you may get some slightly different sound quality, but I think for the most part, it'll sound okay, because I can't count on good internet generally sometimes when I'm in these places, but I'm bringing as much gear that I can to make me sound all right, and hopefully the connections will be good. In the meantime, thank you guys. I think I'm gonna dedicate this one. If I had to play a Springsteen song, it would probably be something like "Stolen Car" or something like that. But it wouldn't be any of the big ones. But for Artie's sake, we'll go with "Stolen Car."
That Because the Night sounded pretty good that they were playing too on that. I've never heard that live one.
You check that out when you get a chance. The entire broadcast is really good, even though I'm not a big fan of all those songs. But it's a great live it's a live set. Anyway, thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, and it has been a good year, and thanks for having me back.
No worries. Take care, guys. We love you.
Oh, just real quick, I was also calling because I just wanted to say my tour starts on the 17th
See you later.
of June.
Thanks, Eric. All right, buddy.
Eric, what? I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
I said the tour that I'm
Take care, man. Don't ever call back.